Leg 6 of the 2017-18 Volvo Ocean Race concluded with an epic 5-team battle down the coast of New Zealand, one of the closest finishes in the history of the race. It was the end of a 3-week, 6,500 mile test of mental and physical endurance. A constant battle, night and day, with teams spending days racing within sight of each other.
I was sitting there, we are doing 0.01 knots. They're doing 13 knots, and they're like 2 miles down there, just going woof.
The seeds were sown for the close finish nearly a week prior, 1,500 miles from the finish, with the fleet split by less than 100 miles.
You know, anything could happen, to be honest. There is a lot of potential up here for things to go very different. The fleet is spread quite widely in front of us, and we'll just have to see how it plays out over the next 48 hours.
Team Brunel had fought hard the whole leg, determined to get their first podium finish of the race. But for several days, the Dutch flag team had been losing miles on the lead trio, and they elected to go into stealth mode to cloak their position in an attempt to hide their losses from the other boats.
It was quite obvious that we actually were falling off the pressure from the 3 leading boats. That's why we went in stealth mode, because we could just imagine that the guys ahead of us would still sail very fast. So that was the lucky thing, and that was the good thing that we went in stealth, because if we wouldn't have gone in stealth, I'm 100% sure that these other boats would have sailed a way higher course, and then the loss would have been bigger.
Also hungry for a first podium finish was Dee Kafari and her multinational crew aboard Turn the Tide on plastic. Their Kiwi crew member, Bianca Cook, is the first female Kiwi sailor in almost 2 decades to take part in the race.
Pretty excited about sailing into New Zealand. Anytime you sail into New Zealand, into your home port, is pretty awesome, but to be able to do it in the Volvo Ocean Race is just a dream come true.
With just 800 miles to run, Sun Hung Kai Scallywag were looking to repeat their triumphant Leg 4 win into their home port of Hong Kong. But Dutch skipper Simeon Tienpont was fighting for the first leg win of his Volvo Ocean Race career.
Yeah, really good. Basically, the plan is working out, which is nice. So slowly, you know, we coming away under the rest of the fleet. I think we're in a pretty strong position right now. I don't want to trade with anyone else, that's for sure. And but still, it's going to be a challenge to get in good shape to the north of New Zealand, and then the last 200 miles in look very light.
20 days into the leg, the fleet finally made landfall at the northern tip of New Zealand. The sunrise provided a reality check on how close the final sprint to the finish would be. Intensity levels reached the breaking point, with the leading trio of boats racing just meters from one another.
Right now, if we get rolling now, we're locking.
Got to keep working in more outlet. A lot tighter than we hoped for and expected.
While behind, Matt Frey and Dong Fong were chewing up the deficit mile by mile and bringing stronger winds with them.
White one's 100% turn the tide, I can see the writing on the sails.
This was our first good opportunity to really get past them before we get up here into more pressure, so we're pretty excited right now that we've got them on our stern.
In the early hours finish in Auckland, Simeon Tienpont and Team Axel Nobel took a historic leg win, finishing just 2 minutes ahead of Sun Hung Kai Scallywag. Kiwi natives Brad Ferrand and Justin Ferris led the winning team into their home port of Auckland.
This is absolutely awesome. This is what everyone dreams of. You know, you've been asking for days now what it's going to be like. You know, really cool feeling. Look at all the people at 2 o'clock in the morning. Incredible. Bloody awesome.
Make it here to Auckland, the crowds, the support, it's bloody amazing. It's great. Yeah, I can't see life getting any better than this.
Fighting back in the final stages of the leg, Matt Frey stole an improbable podium finish, gaining nearly 100 miles over the final 24 hours of racing. That result allowed them to extend their overall lead over their red boat rivals Dong Fong race team, who grabbed 4th.
It was good to have been very bad to finish between Turn the Tide because we'll give more points to Mapfre, but of course we finished 1 minute too late, I will say. And Brunel did a big mistake, and Turn the Tide have been very unlucky today, and so we managed to come back, but sorry to Turn the Tide.
The great comeback for the red boat signaled Heartbreak for Turn the Tide on Plastic, and they would have to settle for 5th place. Although it was their best result to date, it's a bitter pill to swallow when only hours earlier Dee Caffari and her crew were holding down a well-earned 3rd place and battling with the leading duo. The teams will now spend the next 10 days recovering in Auckland, with the boats undergoing servicing and repairs ahead of the March 10th New Zealand Herald import race. And then it's on to Leg 7, a 7,600-mile Southern Ocean race around Cape Horn and back into the Atlantic Ocean, finishing in Itajai, Brazil.